Are you looking for the very best products to protect your digital privacy? Well, Silent Pocket has everything you need with their patented product line of high-quality Faraday bags, backpacks, clutches, and wallets. Visit silentpocket.com today and receive 10% off your order by using discount code SHAREDSECURITY. Welcome to episode 182 of the weekly Shared Security Show. And joining me this week is Mr. Affordable Training co-host Kevin Johnson. Welcome back, Kevin.
Welcome. Thank you. Hi, I'm here.
And a man who is changing the game on security awareness training, Mr. Scott Wright.
It's a good one. That's a good one.
I liked it. That was better than mine. I'm jealous.
I'm trying to plug both of your companies, so I
appreciate that.
Affordable training. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, we have the next run of the system starting next week, and I'm really excited because it's updated, right? It's a new version.
Yep.
But and because of the pay what you can, it is over full. Like, I am so excited by how many people we were able to get into it at like free, no cost, and people, but the number of people who are willing to pay to help other people get it, which was awesome, right? Like this just really, really good stuff. Which, by the way, I need to talk to you guys offline. I probably shouldn't say it right now, but about the Open SBK.
Okay.
We got to roll out, and I need help.
Yeah, let's not talk about offline stuff on a public podcast, but sure.
It's not really, no, it's not private. I'm just saying it's not a conversation to have right now.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's public. The GitHub repo is there and everything.
Yes. So. Excellent. So we have some interesting fun stories this week. This first story I was fascinated by.
Before you say this, I just want to say one thing to all the listeners. There is not a single ransomware story this week.
Yes, great point, Kevin. Thank you for bringing that up.
So we've solved the problem of ransomware.
Yeah, we solved the problem
of ransomware.
No more issues of ransomware. Therefore, we're no longer having to talk about it. So
now we have to talk about dream hacking.
Yes, that's right. or it's called targeted dream incubation, which is now a new privacy concern that. This is something like out of Black Mirror, if you've seen that show on Netflix.
Yeah. Should I watch that show?
Yes, you should watch that show.
Okay.
Highly recommend it. It'll freak you out a bit. But
I like it. I like being freaked out.
Then you'll like Black Mirror.
Okay.
So, and I wasn't aware of this, but apparently Coors, the beer manufacturer here in the U.S., large beer manufacturer. Yeah. They came out with this marketing campaign a while ago, and they encouraged people to watch this short online video before bed, and which would play an 8-hour soundscape, basically through the night. And it basically hacked your dreams where, you would have these refreshing dreams of Coors and beer and, they're TV commercials, right? They're in Colorado and there's the mountains and rivers and everything is beautiful and birds chirping. And I read this and I was like, are we at this point now where companies are now targeting our dreams so we think about their products?
I think this is the same as Pepsi advertising on the moon.
Yeah.
That they are getting more attention from the story than from actually doing it.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I do want to clarify, I do not drink beer. I don't like the taste of it. But my understanding from friends and people who brew is that Coors is not beer. But
it's water.
But
flavored water, yeah.
I think the bigger issue here is not that Coors is doing this soundscape and everything else like that. And if you haven't figured it out, the idea is it's going to hit your subconscious, right? Like your mindset while you're dreaming, and it's just going to put the idea of buying Coors in your head. I don't think the issue is that Coors is doing this. I think that and my understanding from some of the things I read and looked into is that there's no signs they've done anything weird with it. But I read previously, and I can't find the article now, that there were Amazon Echo skills, not the Echo itself, but skills that would play soundscapes, and they would put advertising in against the terms of service and everything else. Like they weren't supposed to do this, but that that's where I think is a big deal. Because I'll tell you right now, I've done it. We have an Echo. Well, I don't know if it's still in her room. I think she took it out of her room. My youngest daughter had an Echo in her room, and we would have it play relaxing soundscapes to help her sleep and stuff like that. And I'll tell you right now, if somebody put stuff in there that's I would kill them. But like, we would have an issue. But like that was the issue, right? Like you're putting this in, and so I think they had some people in the one article you linked that were like experts at dreams and stuff like that, not analyzing dreams. Like, ooh, a dragon flying means somebody's going to die, but that this actually really can change behaviors. And like, this is one of the ways we hypnotize people to stop smoking and stuff, is to play messages while they're sleeping. And that's messed up.
And I bring this up just from a privacy perspective, because, we may be getting to the point where the things that you say are picked up by things like the Echoes and the Google Homes and all these other things. And they could be these recordings and things can be used for, marketing manipulation into something like this.
I think we had talked for a while ago with one of the guys from the Canadian Privacy Commissioner's Office. He's talking about behavioral targeting of ads, right? And it's exactly the same idea, right?
Yeah, the evolution of that. Yeah.
It's messed up.
It is messed up.
I have to say, last night before I went to bed, I was trying some stuff. I did a bit of research. There's this app called Dormio, which I don't know if you've seen that, but you wear a glove and it detects when you're in that REM sleep stage and you're susceptible, and then it starts playing the stuff for you. Like it's for your own sort of self,
like to stop smoking,
your own good.
Yeah, that kind of thing, right? And so I got thinking about it, got looked at, lucid dreams and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm going to try this stuff. And I took a picture while I was dreaming, and I don't know if you could see behind me, but I was getting hacked by Kevin.
I didn't even notice.
I just noticed that.
The cloud.
So those of you on the YouTube channel watching this, look very closely at Scott's background. You may see Kevin in there. That's amazing.
That's awesome, Scott. That is awesome.
I love it. So here's a title that kind of made me LOL a bit, but a third of Britons fear TikTok would share data with Chinese state.
I read the headline, and you know what I immediately thought? That means 2/3 of Britons surveyed don't know what they're talking about. Of course, TikTok is sharing with the Chinese state, even if they don't mean to be.
I thought, like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Like, who isn't fearful of TikTok sharing data with China?
2/3 of Britons turned out to be not that smart.
Well, this is again, and I'm fascinated by, TikTok I've seen things come out from TikTok. You're sharing information about their privacy policy, and they've made changes and updates and things like that. And then there was a story, I think we covered this a couple of weeks ago, about how they modified their terms of service and privacy policy to state that they can collect biometric information from people that upload videos to TikTok, including, your face, your likeness, all these things that can now be used for marketing, and maybe into your dreams, you'll be thinking of TikTok here one of these days, right?
I do think it's important to say, because I don't know that everybody knows this, TikTok is a Chinese company.
Yeah.
Right. Like the reason this is relevant about being afraid of it is, it's not like, is Facebook sharing with China, which they are, but but one of the problems TikTok has is they are under rule of the Chinese government, right? So if the Chinese government decides to say, you have to do this, I hate to say it, but they've got to do it. We can argue about fighting the law and, screw the man or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the reality is they are a Chinese company.
It makes you wonder what was the point of them disclosing, back a few months ago that now they have a terms of service that says they can do this, right? Like,
yeah,
if they were probably doing it before, why would they bother going to say, now we can do this, or you're giving us permission to do it? So.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I laughed at the survey. I think it's kind of like there's so many research projects that are like, we've done research and we've determined that, if you set a building on fire, it will burn. That, TikTok makes me think of a building on fire. And it's funny because just as we started this segment, my daughter, who works for Secure Ideas, sent me a private message in our Slack that was a link to a TikTok she wanted me to see. So,
of course,
like, what? I have not clicked the link.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So we'll see, if more people in the world will start fearing that their data is being shared to China, because we all know what it is. But, this is the challenge of a really popular social media platform like TikTok. No one is going to stop using it because of news like this.
No. Well, somebody is, but somebody is not.
It's such a low percentage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to have
It's like the people watching this podcast are listening to it may. Yeah, that's not good. But
I would like to argue that the people listening to this podcast are smarter than the average bear.
Yes.
So they already aren't using TikTok. And,
Are you sick and tired of getting your credit card or debit card compromised? Well, it's happened to me in the past, and if it's happened to you, it's a time-consuming and stressful process to deal with. Look, credit or debit card breaches are happening all the time because there is very little protection out there to prevent your physical card number from falling into the wrong hands. Well, there is a great solution to this problem, and that's called a privacy card, which is a tool that masks your bank account information by generating virtual card numbers. So if your virtual card number gets compromised, your real card number won't. And on top of that, you can control all of those reoccurring online payments by deciding who can charge your card, how much, and how often. And the best part, you can pause or close out virtual card numbers at any time, which means you have total control over all of your online subscription and reoccurring payments. And right now, new privacy customers will get $5 to spend on your first purchase. So go to privacy.com/shared security right now to sign up and take back control of your online payments.
You want your organization to be secure and compliant and to have a healthy culture, but your employees' lack of awareness makes you vulnerable to data theft, fraud, and compliance penalties. It's frustrating that the boring, static training content that's being used today has failed to improve employees' ability to defend against cyber attacks. At ClickArmor, we know that without using gamification, it's extremely hard to get staff to understand how to avoid threats. Our gamified simulations and challenges have provided a 50% average improvement in thousands of employees' ability to spot phishing threats. Go to clickarmor.ca/shared security to get your free gamified phishing assessment for up to 500 employees. You'll see quickly how gamified simulations can help your team be more resilient and compliant and help avoid costly ransomware and fraud incidents. Let ClickArmor help you go from being an underappreciated, stressed out fall guy to being an innovative leader who's the catalyst for greater productivity in your organization.
So I did want to provide, there was a couple big browser updates recently, or Google Chrome and Firefox. One with Google Chrome, I think this is a great update. They're adding HTTPS first mode, which will basically, if you attempt to go to a non-HTTPS site, so a site that does not use encryption for level set, it'll attempt to find a way, because some sites, they don't just by default have encryption on, right? There are some things that you can do to hopefully attempt to make that more secure. And so the browser will now try to do that. There have been plugins, I think, in the past. Yeah. EFF has had a plugin that's done this for a long time, and some others as well. But, it's good to see Google's finally coming to the party. So
I think this is, well, see, I don't think, I disagree with what you just said. I don't think this is Google's coming to the party. I think this is Google realizing that the HSTS preload breaks so many things.
Yeah.
And so they've switched it to a more enterprise friendly system, right? Because, and I can speak from experience because I'm who broke a large number of Secure Ideas' websites, because one Sunday night I decided, hey, this HSTS preload thing makes a lot of sense. I should turn it on. And the problem is you turn it on at the root domain, like secureideas.com.
Yep.
And we had internal systems that we hadn't rolled out certificates on because they were behind a VPN and whatever. And the system, and I'm not saying that's the right choice. I'm just saying that we hadn't. But worse, at the time, we were hosting our blog. I want to say it was Blogspot. And they didn't support certificates. If you were using a custom domain, if you were using the blah, 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 .blogspot, you could use a certificate. So there's lots of problems there. My issue with Google's thing, and this is the same issue I have every time we have this type of conversation. I love that they're doing it. I love that they're hitting HTTPS first. I love awesome work, until I read that there's a huge warning that the site is not secure if it's not HTTPS. And there are way too many sites out there right now that are not HTTPS that we can argue about whether they should be or not. And I'm the first person that says there's very few good reasons not to put HTTPS out. Certificates are free. There's easy technologies to roll them out, everything else like that. But I know of companies that have tens of thousands of servers running software that somebody built. Somebody took a PHP in 21 seconds class and wrote an app that has no sensitive data, and it's not HTTPS, or
for training or stuff, right? So
right. And as a security person, I cringe that they're not using HTTPS, but the user support that Google is going to push down onto organizations because of that, I don't understand where Google, and we've had this conversation about their bug finding service, and way too often Google thinks they know what's best for everybody else, and it irritates the piss out of me. And the warning irritates me on this one. I love everything else about it. I just hate the warning.
Yeah, that is that is kind of the mantra of Google, because they are so big and so influential with everything on the internet. It kind of gives them some added voice, so to speak.
Yep.
With things like this.
Well, and I'll give you an example right now of a problem. I know of MRI machines that have web interfaces for the technician and the doctor or whatever to look at the results of the MRI machine. They are local, on an internal network, everything else. We can argue about, I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying I know this exists. The MRI machine has a web interface. The web interface is over HTTP. And the machine is not maintainable. The vendor of that machine is like, yeah, you want a better MRI machine? We'll sell you one for $13 million. And they can't put a certificate on. Yes. Is it technically possible that somebody could figure out how to hack the machine to get a certificate on it? Yes. We can get Doom to run on it. We can probably get a certificate to run on it, right? But that's not the right answer to these doctors and these technicians who are running machines that are running Google Chrome. And now every time they go to try to deal with this MRI machine, they're going to get a warning because Google thinks HTTPS is a requirement everywhere. I happen to agree with them, except, right? So is anybody else buying the $13 million MRI machine for the local hospital? Because I'm not.
Wouldn't you rather just switch browsers?
Well, no, but that's the problem. Is that's what's going to happen? Is they're going to switch a browser to another browser. Okay, well, we can't go to Edge because Edge runs Google's engine. So I'm assuming it will have the warning. So now we've got Firefox, and I have my own issues with Firefox, right? So this is an example of when people say, well, there's no good reason. Yeah, there is. Here's a good reason. Mm-hmm. And we can argue whether the vendor who sold them the MRI machine is liable or negligent or whatever, and I think they are. But the reality is the hospital can't fix that problem.
Yeah.
And now we're going to make it harder for the doctor and the nurse. And I'm not saying, oh, people will die. It's an MRI machine. But they can click through the warning. But Google has proven that they'll do the warning for a while. And then in version 90 and version 95, you won't be able to click through. You'll have to toggle some weird setting, 47 clicks through, or type "this is unsafe" in your browser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff irritates me. And to me, the entire InfoSec community seems to revolve around this idea that security is the most important thing ever. And how dare you question our decisions? And it pisses me off. I just had a conversation on Twitter about a different similar, it's never okay not to patch. Well, put those absolutes out there, you're wrong.
Did you get blocked again?
I did not get blocked. I was nice. I was just like, no, you're wrong. You're saying an absolute. I totally agree with you. Patching is important. It's businesses have to business. Businesses don't have to be secure. We want them to be secure. We want things to. I'll stop ranting.
So moving on to Firefox.
Yeah, my favorite.
Let's click on them for a minute. They just launched just-in-time support for unblocking Facebook when users log in, which seems like a contradiction to their previous stance. So if you don't know, and may have mentioned this in the show before, but Firefox is a way of basically virtualizing. You can kind of think of it that way, of your interactions with Facebook and all the pixel tracking and the cookies and all of that links, your information back to Facebook. They've got a really good setting on that, which kind of is pretty strict, right? So what they've done is kind of opened it up a little bit where you could still log into Facebook, and now they're doing some kind of trickery in the browser to ensure that tracking cookies and other things aren't communicating back to that Facebook login, essentially. So,
I get a kick out of it because you're absolutely right. In my mind, it reads as a step back, right?
A little bit.
What Firefox did is exactly what I complain about all the time. They rolled out something that they thought, look, you're all dumb. You're letting them track you.
Boom.
Let me do this. And then they're like, oh, damn, people are mad because their Facebook authentication doesn't work anymore because we test this outside of 4 nerds at Mozilla. And so they're backing down. They back down all the time on this kind of stuff. And my answer is maybe learn from your mistakes and stop rolling out stupid draconian things because you believe you know what people want. I'll tell you right now, people don't want it. Here's how I know. They still share stupid stuff about election fraud on Facebook. Those people are not worried about privacy. Vaccine is going to track you.
Yeah. But maybe the bigger update, and I saw at the end of this article, was the latest edition also marks the end of support for FTP in the browser. So maybe they finally did do something good.
No, they didn't.
Darn, I wanted to use FTP now.
I'll tell you right now, I work with a research hospital that they provide FTP services to upload and download research data that has no privacy concerns, no medical concerns, everything else like that. They use FTP because they're pulling data down to pieces of equipment that in third world countries that they don't have the technology or whatever. And we can talk about them not having technology, but okay, you're doing the exact same thing I just said. They right now go in a browser to an FTP site and upload the results of what they're doing in these third world countries. And Firefox won't let them do that anymore, which means they won't be using Firefox.
No, they'll be just downloading an FTP client. But
which, I mean, you know as well as I do, won't be patched. And
you find it on SourceForge and has been updated in 5 years. Yeah,
they're downloading from cows. But
all right. Well, with that, I think that's all we have for this week's show. But I want to thank both of you again.
Thank you, Tom,
for the lively discussion as always.
Yeah.
Please don't block Kevin on Twitter.
Will there be ransomware next week? I don't know.
I don't think I've been blocked because of something I've done recently.
It's been a while. It's been a while since you've had a Twitter uproar. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nicer.
That's good.
Basically, I've realized that people don't understand that I'm actually asking questions, not trolling.
You are.
Most of the time I ask a question, it really is because I'm curious as to why something exists, not because I'm trying to start a fight.
Yes.
So,
yeah. All right.
All right, all. Well, thanks again. And thanks all for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll talk to you all next week. That's all for this week's show. Be sure to follow the Shared Security Show on Twitter and Instagram for the latest news and show updates. If you like this episode, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Show.